Hello everyone, and thank you for giving me the floor.
Hello, not hello.
Hello.
Yes, we're coming.
Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for giving me the floor and the opportunity to introduce myself.
And thank you for, when you use for, the verb is in ing form, for giving me. Thank you for giving me, not forgive, for giving me the floor. Thank you for coming. Thank you for calling. Everything, when you use for, verb, ing. Good. So begin again.
Hello everyone, and I would like to thank you for giving me the floor. I'm happy to be here, and I will take this opportunity to introduce myself and talking about what I'm working for. So I'm working for United Nations Population Fund. My current data station is in Haiti, the capital of Port-au-Prince, but for security reasons, I'm based in USA with regular trips to Haiti. As I said, my current position is gender-based violence sub-cluster coordination. For those who are not familiar with the humanitarian vocabulary and architecture as well, so I will try to explain a bit on what is humanitarian intervention. So humanitarian intervention is divided into clusters. Clusters.
Yeah.
This is to meet and coordinate multiple needs from multiple needs of the affected population. Indeed, as you all already know, in humanitarian setting, affected population might have many types of needs many types of needs as health needs, food needs, shelter, water, sanitation, hygiene, protection, and more needs. This is why in most of the time within humanitarian setting we have clusters as health clusters led by the WHO, led by World Health Organization.
Okay.
We also have food security clusters.
Security.
Food security.
Let's say
Security.
Excellent.
Security clusters.
Okay.
Led by World Food Program.
Okay.
We also have shelter cluster.
Okay.
This is to deal with those who need where to stay. Maybe you may have internal displaced people who are looking for where to stay, and most of the time they need shelter, temporary shelter provided by humanitarian or the government to stay somewhere for a moment before have a more secure place to stay.
A more secure place. A more secure place.
A more secure place to stay. After the shelter cluster, we also have protection cluster where I'm working in.
Okay, where I currently work.
Where I'm currently work.
Yeah.
Where I'm currently work. So protection cluster is the cluster who deal with all about humanitarian right or right violation. For example, we might have gender-based violence as protection issues. You may have child protection for violence against children. This is usually led by UNICEF. And then we could also have some issues related to the housing, land, and property. In some setting, you may have mine action sub-cluster within the protection cluster.
Okay. So you have, first of all, you have the global humanitarian mission. Under the global humanitarian mission for a specific problem, you have clusters. And clusters are led by specific UN organizations. Like for food protection, for food security, you have WFP. For children, you have UNICEF. Children and women, or just children?
Children.
Okay, for children. And then for gender.
Children include girl and boy.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I wanted just you to clarify is that under humanitarian global action you have clusters, and under clusters you also have sub clusters.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. You can continue. I wanted just to clarify that. Yes.
Okay. So for this presentation, we are going to focus on gender-based violence.
Okay.
What does gender-based violence means? To be short, gender-based violence is violence against someone because of her or his sex or gender.
Okay.
This includes sometimes sexual orientation, for instance, because even someone have a different orientation with us, this person also need to be support in terms of services if needed.
Yes.
And then we are going to continue with talking about the main type of GBV, the main type of the GBV type.
Okay.
So there are 6 main types of gender-based violence. This include rape.
Okay.
We have also
We also have always use also before the verb.
we
also
have sexual assault, physical assault,
yes.
forced marriage. Forced marriage includes early marriage. Forced marriages. This includes also
This
also includes early marriage for children.
But even if it is in their culture, their tradition says that you should marry at 12. Is it a gender-based issue now?
It's a gender-based issue because human right is universal.
Go and say that to the people in the North region.
Exactly. And another type of GBV is the denial of resources, opportunity, and services.
Denial.
Denial.
What spell it? Let me hear.
DENEAL.
Not DENIAL. It is pronounced denial. Okay. Continue.
An example of a denial of resources is, for instance, when girls are not supposed to go to school. Sometimes in some family, for some fathers, for limited resources or for the cultural reason, they prefer to send the boy in school than girl. This is an example of the denial of resources.
Denial of resources.
Yes. Sometimes women are not allowed to develop businesses.
Okay.
This is another example of denial of resources. Or sometimes some girl or women may need family planning services, but in their culture they are not allowed to use family planning tabs or medicine.
Okay. So, okay, are you still continuing?
Yes.
Okay.
So now we are going to move on gender-based violence specialized services.
Okay.
You know, when a case of gender-based violence is occurred somewhere, it may be in the humanitarian setting or anywhere. The victim, as we used to call the survivor, need to receive services to recovery.
Okay.
And some of services are, for instance, in the case of the rape, the survivor of the victim may need to receive medical support or clinical management of rape in the hospital. But not only the clinical management of rape of the medical support, the survivor or the victim also need the psychosocial support or psychological support. This includes sometimes mental health, because some rape women or girls or sometimes men need to be recovering in terms of psychology.
Okay. Yeah, they need mental, psychological recovery.
Yes.
Okay, and follow up.
And follow up.
Okay.
Because sometimes are treat to the suicide.
Then go ahead.
I forgot. How to say. And another important services is about legal services. After the rape cases, the survivor may need maybe to be support in terms of complaint against the alleged perpetrator, and the survivor and the victim need help from the government or the humanitarian actors to support the process of the legal assistance. Another type of need is about economic. Survivor or victim after being raped need to be support in terms of the economic need, and the economic needs or sometimes need to receive cash voucher assistance or in-kind assistance. And in some cases, in some particular context of the crisis, we have what we call temporary appointment or safe care for women and girls. You know, sometimes when a girl or woman are beaten by her husband, their husband, they are afraid to return at home the same day, so they need to spend some time out of home, out of their husband home.
Yeah.
And in some context, humanitarian context, they have what we are calling safe space. Safe space for women and girls, where women and girls can stay maybe for 3 days, 1 week, 1 month, sometime more, in security, and then may be able to return at home. Now, after talking about services, we are going to talk a little bit about what is the role for myself. For instance, as gender-based violence coordinator, I'm supposed to support the government and humanitarian actors with some aspect of humanitarian intervention. As for instance, I have to support gender-based violence service delivery. For instance, to make sure that survivors and victims have access to available services, and to make sure that all those services are free of charge. Because when you are a victim or internal displaced person, most of the time that affected population people does not have money to pay themselves services. This is why as humanitarian
for services,
they're not able to pay themselves services. This is why my role, for instance, is to mobilize resources with the government and other humanitarian to make sure that at the level of the hospital, for instance, treatment of rape are totally free of charge for survivors, notably for those who are internal displaced persons or for refugees. I also supposed to support advocacies, because in some time you are facing many challenges with services. The normal way is to have free of charge services, but by experience, most of the time services are not really free of charge at the level of hospital. Even hospitals are supported by the humanitarian actor, but most of the time we need to advocate with the government and also give more support to the hospital to be sure that services will become free of charge totally.
Okay.
So I need to support advocacies for services access. I need to support advocacy for present evidence-based data related to the GBV cases, for instance, and for instance, show how many people, for instance, have access rep treatment within the 72 hours allowed for the good and the quality treatment.
Within the first 72 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
72 hours.
The first 72 premiers, something like that.
Oui,
so
yes.
You say the first 72
hours.
Okay.
So I need to have evidence. This is why most of the time we are collecting reported incident data, then analyze all the analyzed data to have a good overview of what is going on the field, to have a good understand about challenge in terms of access of the services. I need to be able to say that for instance, during the month of March or April, for instance, maybe this is not just an example. 100 girl and woman was raped in 80, for instance, and 10 out of 100, or by percentage, I may say maybe only 10% of women and girls that was raped has access to the services. That means that we need to enhance and reinforce services.
Good.
Yes, so I need to have evidence-based data when I are talking with donors on the government and the other humanitarian.
So the data is to take decisions,
yes,
and create strategies to improve on the situation.
Improve the situation.
Okay.
And also, most of the time, I'm developing the situation report. Is like a briefing note that I've developed to share with donors. We also have the website to post all about GBV situation in Haiti. This is because most of the donors are used to visit all those pages to have the
donor doesn't just give his money and stay. He gives his money and follows up what they are doing with his or her money.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then I need to convince the donors to convince the donor to support service delivery, for instance, based on evidence data I collected in the field from the survivor. I also supposed to develop the strategy. You know, when we are talking about service delivery or humanitarian, we need to have the strategy of the response. Maybe we can say that for the 2024 year, we are going to focus on maybe medical support, because you may have many challenges, but you need to prioritize needs that we have.
You cannot do everything.
We cannot do everything. Or maybe select prioritize some area. Some area. Because sometimes I remember because before working outside the country, I was supported the far north region and also the northwest and the southwest crisis. Sometimes we need to select some subdivision. Subdivision and say that this is the subdivision where needs are
the highest.
Than others.
More urgent.
Yes, more urgent than others. So the both two regions need help, but we need to focus first on this subdivision, on this division, and to be specific in terms of what is the the needs or the intervention will be focused on what? Maybe service delivery, maybe documentation. You know, sometimes for most people, IDP who left the northwest region, most of the time they do not have ID cards. But for instance, I need to discuss with the government and the protection cost for the world to say that all of these women and girls do not have ID card, so we cannot concentrate our need only for those who have ID card, but we also need to see how we can be flexible in terms of with those who don't have ID card to be able to receive needs that they want or that they really need, and to see how we can discuss with the government to facilitate the delivering of the ID card for those particular specific affected people, for instance.
So what I understand is that for you, the situation report is for two things: to identify the area where specific needs are required urgently, and secondly, to make an assessment and come up with a strategy to fulfill those needs.
Exactly.
Thank you, madam.
Exactly. Okay. And then when finally we receive funds, so that we are able to implement project.
Yes.
It's important also to put in place the monitoring and evaluation strategies that will help us to monitor the result, so that we have the baseline at the starting point of the project. But at the middle, maybe every quarter, we should measure progress. Maybe to
re-strategize,
for instance, or maybe to measure about we have received maybe $10 million at the beginning. We required $10 million for the support. We have only received maybe 2, so we need more to continue our road of service delivery. Or it's important also to share about information, the number of people reached by the intervention. This we may see sometime 10 women and girls have received dignity kit in 10 regions. Have received dignity kit, so at the beginning of the project, we have the monitoring and evaluation plan that will be followed up during the project, and evaluate the strategy to see how we can improve what we are doing and how we can adjust if we are facing challenges, because sometimes we start the project sometimes without the crisis somewhere, and when we start at the time when you will implement, at the time of the implementation of the project, we may face some issues that was not present at the beginning, so we need to
and that you didn't even imagine will come up.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
This is why we absolutely need to have the monitoring and evaluation plan.
Okay.
To follow for the follow of the project. Okay. And then another big part of my role, for instance, is to capacity building.
Okay.
You know, I'm a humanitarian. I'm not supposed to stay in the country all the time.
Okay.
So it's important for me to train local actors, local staff, okay, on how to deal with gender-based violence, how to follow up in terms of services, how to have the quality of services, maybe maybe what is the standards, what are the available tools at the country level, at the regional level, where we are going to, and how I need local organizations, for instance, to be more to improve their participation. Sometimes when we are dealing with gender-based violence, we absolutely need to have, for instance, women organization. We absolutely need a meaningful implication of woman organization.
Okay.
Yes, in the program, because sometimes when we have woman-led organization, for instance, is the best way for community approach to prevent or for gender-based violence risk mitigation within the community where survivors and victims are live.
Okay.
This is why it's absolutely important to train women organizations, local actors, civil society partners and actors, and sometimes the government counterpart also.
But before you continue, please, can you briefly tell me who are the main stakeholders of GBV in a country like Haiti?
Many actors are stakeholders in GBV.
Okay.
We have many UN agencies like United Nations Population Fund, who are the lead of gender-based violence. We have UN Women, we have UNICEF as well, you have UNHCR, and you have civil society partners.
Okay.
You have local actors.
Okay.
Local actors, we have national NGO, international NGO as well. We have also the Ministry of Women, like you have in Cameroon, MINPOF. Yes, we have Ministry of Women Affairs.
Which means that you, as a country, as the person in charge of GBV in Haiti right now for your organization, are you the one who talks with all these people?
Yes. Yes.
So any action plan,
yes,
for GBV,
yes,
you have to coordinate all these people.
Yes.
You have to sell the idea to all of them.
Yes.
That look, this is what we need to do.
Most of the time, as strategy, we might discuss bilaterally with the government, because an humanitarian working in the country to support the government. You are not supposed to work.
You are not coming against the government.
Against the government. So, for me, for instance, in my role, when I arrived in Haiti, I tried to meet the Ministry of Women.
The minister
of Women.
Okay.
Women, to discuss about the strategy and to have the feedback from the field, and to have a good understanding on how things are going on, and to also check about their own programmation about gender-based violence as action. Because at the level of the country, they also have the plan, the program. So I'm not supposed to go to work against the program, but I need to support, integrate the available program developed by the minister. Align. I need to align, to be aligned.
Okay. Even if some of the aspects of their program are against universal human rights.
Yes. Yes.
But you are supposed to tell them that, look, educate them on.
So this is why most of the time is I make many negotiations, because when you arrive somewhere, you need to be integrated. So you need to discuss with people to have a good understanding on how they are working, what their needs. Because sometimes you may work as a humanitarian, but not taking in consideration or still need of population, not implicate very well population you are working for. But the government, for instance, most of the time have the good understanding of need from the fields. So when you are working for the government, it will be more easier for you for negotiation for first, and then to be integrated to facilitate integration at the field.
No, it's now clear. But do you face some challenges? And let us begin with Haiti. Right now, there is no government, or the government is there are so many stories.
Exactly.
So
in Haiti right now, there is no government, no parliament as well. So we try to discuss. They have the Ministry of Women, so we discuss with the ministry, but It's not possible, for instance, to have a success advocacy with the toward the government, because the government is not
it does not exist.
It's not exist. So most of the time, I'm working with humanitarian actors,
Okay.
and then try to see or find a way of be aligned with the Ministry of Women. The Ministry of Women, sometimes, for instance, when I need to have the meeting, the coordination meeting, because every month I have coordination meeting to talk with all the partners about the situation and for the feedback from the field and so on. I'm also here from the field.
Okay.
For instance, now I'm here in Cameroon. I'm not in Institute, that I'm not aware on what I can just receive emails and calls, but I'm not in the field to have the fresh information from the field. So during the coordination meeting, I used to discuss. I prepared the meeting before with the government, so that this is the agenda, this is the point we are going to discuss.
Okay.
This is to check if the government is comfortable or not with the point that I plan to discuss with the public. Sometimes they are not comfortable, and they will tell you that we don't want to discuss about this point.
Huh?
Sometimes, yes. And if the government said that they are not comfortable, you cannot go ahead. So you need to
eliminate that point.
Exactly.
Or negotiate.
Or work within humanitarian actor but not with.
Okay.
You cannot go against the government.
The government.
Yes.
So that's the first thing we have learned today. That the UN organization always have to align to the local government's view.
Yes.
On each of the clusters' activities. So if it is cluster for food, if the local government is against certain types of food or dignity kits, you cannot impose them.
You cannot impose them. For instance, when it comes to treatment of rape,
okay,
the government have the protocol of how to treat rape. So even as humanitarian, you need to follow the protocol.
Yes.
Developed by the government. If the protocol is not yet available, you need to discuss with the government and see how you can together develop
the protocol. Wow. So government is the supreme boss.
Yes.
The alpha and omega of your actions.
Yes.
Once they are uncomfortable with your actions, it becomes a problem. Implementations becomes a problem. But apart from that, do you face any other activity, any other difficult challenges, especially from concerned parties that are directly responsible for GBV? Let us take, for example, the armed forces or the uniformed men during a conflict situation like in Haiti.
Sometimes humanitarian are attacked by the armed force or the rebels, and in the case of the Haiti, by the armed gang. Because they know that you are the one who have developed report against rape, against gang. So sometimes they attack
you directly. Okay.
Sometimes they come in our premise, for instance.
On your premises?
Yes. Sometimes they use stone. They use stone in the premises, or sometimes they block the road so that you cannot pass. You cannot pass.
So there is harassment. The call of that harassment. They harass humanitarian workers when they discover that humanitarian workers are responsible for some negative reports.
Exactly. But this is why sometimes when you have this kind of report, they will not make them public. They will share the report with but within
They are themselves
within the
club,
team,
teams.
the teams,
Okay.
so that everyone cannot have access to the report. This is to avoid that kind of harassment.
Harassment.
Yes.
Okay. But generally, what is the population's reaction towards GBV interventions?
Sometimes, in most of the time, they are not really satisfied with what they are receiving, because they think that what they are receiving is not enough.
Okay.
Sometimes most of them think that as humanitarian, we just like we have the big salary, but what you provide to the population is so little.
It's insignificant.
It's insignificant.
Okay.
Yes. This is most of the time it's not easy for us, for instance, to visit, to go directly where the affected the concern. Yes, we try, but most of the time we need to be protected.
Yeah.
Because some may receive services, but it's still insignificant.
Yes. Okay. So.
And another point is that another challenge, since many of the donors only need report from gender-based violence cases. As you know, in most of the time, gender-based violence is underreported. So that you may present the report of 10 cases, but in the reality is others.
It's far more
than what you have in the report. This is the big issue we are facing with gender-based violence.
What is responsible for that?
Because most of the time, when you are raped or you are a woman, you don't have courage to go and report your case, because sometimes let's take the example in the far north. If you are raped, you are supposed sometimes to marry your perpetrator, or yes, in some cases in the far north, when you are raped, the girls who rape you supposed to have you as a spouse.
Okay.
This is why sometimes most of the girl or women prefer to not report the case.
Okay, so it's shame.
It's a shame. It's a shame, and most of the time, when you are reported the case, it's because you are looking for the services, and if the services are not available, it's like
so you have lost.
Everybody will be aware of your cases, but in the other side, you have not received the services.
You have not profited from anything. So that is the main issue, of the main reason for underreporting.
Yes.
Some people feel ashamed. Victims. And what is the
percentage? In some community, when you have been raped, means that you will never or anymore get married in that community because you have been raped. This is why
blacklisted you.
Yes.
Hey, this is interesting. Okay.
So there are many reasons for reporting of gender-based violence cases.
Okay. And also, the real what I know is that we are talking more about women. What about this new phenomenon of homosexual? Is it a problem in GBV?
Normally, sexual orientation or homosexual is part of gender-based violence, because but as you know, for instance, in Cameroon and many of the black society, it's not easy for someone to say that I'm homosexual. And this is why even you are raped as a homosexual, you are not going to report your cases.
Okay.
And for instance, I remember when I was in sometime and I was facilitated a training in Haiti, and I was discussing about gender-based violence guiding principle. So you have 4 guiding principles. One of them is the non-discrimination. I was talking about non-discrimination. This is the principle saying that even the woman, the French speaker, I'm not speaking the local language, I'll need to receive services. And I have continued by saying that even I'm homosexual, I'm allowed to receive as well services as others, because most of service providers are not provide services to homosexual person. For instance,
Yes.
yes.
And what was the reaction?
And the participants,
Yes,
started to shout against,
protest.
Yeah, to protest
Against
the principal.
Okay, so, but is it, do you think that GBV, through the actions of your organization and the other clusters, do you think that GBV is reducing or increasing?
Increasing or reducing, I don't know exactly, because if you are only talking about the reported cases, it's not easy to say that the number of cases has been reduced or increased. But we can just compare the number of reported cases.
Okay.
If I may talk, I'll take an example in Haiti, for instance. In Haiti, there are, I would like to say, escalation of rape cases, because rape are used as arm weapon.
A weapon.
As a weapon.
Yes.
Yes.
To do what?
Arm gun in the communities, rape women
Of the other community.
of their community,
Okay.
and other community. This is to increase the fears of the population.
So rape is like a terror, a means of terrorizing the population.
Exactly.
They already have guns. Wow. So in Haiti, for example, rape is used to increase the gangs' influence.
Exactly.
And then intimidate the population.
Yes.
Okay. So, which means that
sometimes we have some neighborhood, for instance, where armed gang come and rape all women and girls in the communities in the same night.
Just like that.
Yes. This is for intimidation.
Yes. Which therefore means that during conflict periods, gender-based violence escalates,
yes,
or rises.
Yes.
But during peacetime, it falls.
It falls in terms of number of reported cases.
Okay. So, thank you very much. How many minutes there? 43 minutes only.